One of the most significant wars on invention is currently taking place right in front of our very eyes, yet the majority of people are still too preoccupied with sleeping to realize how significant it is. I am grateful that you have returned to the show. One and all, this is Nick, my name. If this is your first trip to the channel, I really hope that you will decide to sign up by the time the video is over. All right, let's get down to business. Yesterday I wrote on this topic, but the most of my writing was about the OpenSea catastrophe, which indicates that the SEC is looking for OpenSea. Not only are we going to discuss this topic at this moment, but we are also going to discuss a far more significant issue that is currently taking place in the United States. First, let's speak about how OpenSea is gaining their attention the right way. This message comes from Devin Finzer, the Chief Executive Officer of OpenSea. We got a Wells notice from the Securities and Exchange Commission that states they intend to file a lawsuit against OpenSea because they believe the non-fungible tokens, NFTs, that are listed on our website are securities. Consequently, it is not limited to digital items. In addition to being tokens, they are now considered non-fungible tokens, NFTs. We are astonished that the Securities and Exchange Commission would target creators and artists in such a comprehensive manner, but we are prepared to fight back. Without a shadow of a question, the Securities and Exchange Commission has been pursuing cryptocurrency for a considerable amount of time. Coinbase, Uniswap, Robinhood app, KrakenFX, and Consensus are just some of the companies that have been fighting against the SEC's one-track strategy of regulation by enforcement. If Anderson were to make a remark on this page, for example, he could say something like, hey, you left out Ripple, which wasn't a surprise, but you left out the company that had, and I would be thrilled. To begin, the key crypto fight is not really powerful. Hope you enjoy yourself. It also lacks strength. Ripple is certainly one of the few firms in this field to have truly put up as much money as they did in legal expenses, fought the SEC for the longest time, and now everything points to them winning. I don't understand why they weren't included in this, especially considering that they are likely one of the only companies in this space. Ripple is being excluded for some reason that I do not understand, but whatever. Despite the fact that it has been going on for quite some time, we have been following the same pattern: go after non-financial transactions, which is a new direction. An even greater number of innovative ideas would be prevented by SEC. There are a great number of creative individuals and artists that work online who are in risk, and a significant proportion of them do not have the resources necessary to protect themselves. At their core, non-fungible tokens, NFTs, are comprised of a variety of creative objects, including art collectibles, video game items, domain names, event tickets, and more. There should be a difference between the regulations that we have for collateralized financial obligations and the rules that we have for digital art. The process of putting OpenSea together. Many individuals have shared with us the ways in which non-fungible tokens, NFTs, have altered their life, such as how student painters have utilized them to secure full-time employment and to market their digital artwork. This eliminates the need for independent game developers to begin from scratch and construct marketplaces because they are able to immediately create open markets for their in-game commodities. A growing number of collectors from all around the world are becoming members of new clubs that are founded on the principle of sharing digital rights. A situation in which artists ceased creating digital art because the threats from the government would be a dreadful thing to happen. If you take a look at the lawsuit that the conceptual artist Brian, I believe this is Brian L. Fry, and the musician Song of a Man filed against the Securities and Exchange Commission, you will notice that they expressed their concern that the sale of their artwork and music would be interpreted as an unregistered offering of securities. Additionally, they are maintaining their position. A Wells notice will be issued to NFT inventors and developers, and they will receive a donation of $5 million to assist them in paying their legal fees. Any and all creators, regardless of their size, are included in this provision. If people want to come up with fresh ideas, they shouldn't be frightened to do so. I have high hopes that the Securities and Exchange Commission will swiftly comprehend this and will be eager to investigate it. Up to that point, we are going to take a position and fight for our company. In the past, I have stated this numerous times. It is not a problem with the SEC. The SEC is not the only issue. On top of that, however, Stuart Aderati, the chief legal officer of Ripple, disclosed the following fascinating fact. Even if businesses were selling to individuals who were interested in investing, art shops were exempt from the Securities and Exchange Commission's requirement to register with them in 1976. However, if we take a look at the history, we can see that the SEC is contradicting itself in a number of different ways. In spite of the fact that we are examining the Howey test, everything that they have been stating about cryptocurrency for a considerable amount of time constitutes gibberish and contradicts what they have been saying. It's not funny at all, but let me reiterate. The situation is not yet over. She is one of the most hilarious people in the Southeastern Conference, so let's go talk to Hester Peirce. It's true that everyone is eager to support Hester Peirce, but what do you think? Her behavior is on par with that of Gary Gensler. The new Governor Commissioner of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Eleanor Tourette, writes this. On the subject of cryptocurrency, Hester Peirce asserts that she bears some responsibility for the manner in which the Commission has interpreted the Howey test. There is a lot of wisdom in this quote. At least in part, I am to fault for that. There is something that I could have done better to assist in making the law more understandable. This should serve as a lesson for other forms of authority. A significant amount of work needs to be done at the SEC as well as in the space. There have been numerous occasions on which I have listened to Hester Peirce speak, and each time she has discussed something that she could have done better but did not. That is something that I ought to have done, but I didn't. or that is due. That is something that I could have done, but I didn't. This highlights the fact that she is not a good person. A better analogy would be good cop, bad cop. The two of them are employed by the same company. They are not superior to one another in any way. When it comes to humor, the SEC has reached its limit at this time, but as I've repeatedly mentioned, this is not a problem with the SEC. Gary Gensler, Jay Clayton, and William Hinman are a few examples of these individuals. Apparently, these individuals were under the control of another individual. There is one thing that is occurring. This is not the fault of the SEC. The United States government is to blame. Once more, power is the most important factor. Everything revolves around gaining and losing power. When it comes to that, they want to be in command. Johnny Dean is the one who will provide us with information regarding the situation that is occurring over here. It is well knowledge that Gary Gensler is not the person who is leading the charge against cryptocurrency. A look at this is in order. By the way, the actual name is Elizabeth Warren. To combat crypto, she has organized a military force. Nevertheless, what is the support? The large lenders benefit from this. To be of assistance to the lenders is the primary goal. Don't overlook that fact. An important group of folks can be found over here. It is abundantly evident that the SEC governor is abusing his office by making extensive use of regulations in this situation. Our regulatory system suffers from a loss of confidence and transparency as a result of this. This harsh manner causes a great number of individuals to feel uneasy, and it has the potential to halt the developments that are driving digital innovation in the United States. In order to clarify things, the Securities and Exchange Commission ought to collaborate with Congress. The only way we will be able to create rules for Web3 that are fair is if everyone works together and is willing to share their thoughts. After that, we will be able to develop regulations that safeguard customers and foster digital innovation rather than suffocating it with restrictions. The fact that Congress has not taken any action is another thing that is wrong. The members of Congress want to reprimand Gary Gensler as if he were a child and declare that the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC has failed, but they do not want to take any action to assist the SEC or to take action against it. Creativity and cryptography ought to thrive. Absolutely not at all. All they want to do is sit there and play quietly. You are about to be subjected to some stones from my end. The game that they are playing is exactly that. Only conversation can be heard. There is no movement. According to Cody Carbone, who is the head of the digital chamber, we have here something ludicrous. Permit me to go on a tirade for a second. The CC's continued pursuit of non-financial transactions, NFTs, under the pretext of governmental regulation is a joke. It has been the SEC is intent on incorporating digital assets such as non-fungible tokens, NFTs, which are mostly utilized for the purpose of purchasing goods, into its power without a clear legislative mandate. Not only is Chair Gensler going too far by constantly waging a crusade, but it also poses a direct threat to the creation of digital content and the advancement of digital technology. This is something that I have stated numerous times. Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman are forgotten by everyone. Well, what exactly is going on here? There is no Gary Gensler here. It is without a doubt that he is one of the most ridiculous individuals in the entire planet. However, this is a considerably more significant problem. However, as Commissioners Pierce and Ueda pointed out in their dissenting opinion about the Stoner Cats case, it is the responsibility of the commissioner or the commission to ensure that artists are able to continue to sell their work, continue to develop fans, and continue to engage those people in future creative opportunities.